This comes as we're being bombarded by more and more videos on social media of them in street fights and brawls on reality shows. In the last week alone, black women have been blamed for the chaos at Daytona Beach's spring break. Law enforcement even calling one out by name, demanding $1 million in restitution for the damages in that city.
Here is number one offender, Aliyah Brooks. She got a certified letter basically saying that has come to our attention that you are advertising, promoting, or sponsoring, or organizing, or arranging via social media a Daytona Beach takeover.
That even some black men blaming black women for the new dress code at the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo.
Embarrassed us so bad for the Houston Rodeo that like this have to be talked about. And we've been telling y'all this. We've been telling y'all that black American women, FBA women, have they ass out everywhere you go.
And then there's this guy who describes black women this way on social media.
What's your least favorite race to date?
I want to say black girls have great personalities, but they're like apishly aggressive, you know? Apishly like manly sometimes, you know, the way they act. You feel me?
No, I don't.
Some say no matter how educated or successful, some black women have been constantly vilified, like politicians Jasmine Crockett and Kamala Harris. Hence, the question remains, are black women being vilified in America now? And, of course, we have a panel of guests here, women, important women. Let's well, yeah, you black, too. So let's get to it, Yolanda. Is this over-exaggeration? Is this a fair assessment? Unfair? Your thoughts about what we're seeing on social media bombarding us?
So first of all, it's not new. Black women are always the boogeyman, like always. We're angry, we're aggressive. These are all things they say about us. And so I don't know why people are paying attention to it now. It was not true then, it's not true now. And if I am angry, considering black women are the #1 target of everybody, then I'm justifiably angry. If I am angry, so I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna own it. So again, this is not new, it's old, but you know what? I've been black all my life, I'm gonna die black, and the one thing I know black women will do is we will survive and we will thrive. And y'all can just keep hating, because for whatever reason, your name always on our lips. And so we must be doing something, because you want our lips, you want our backsides, you want it all. You want our color, you roasting yourself, you're looking old before your time, because you want everything black. You want to culturally appropriate.
All right, Angela, let's hear from you, your thoughts about this.
So here's my thoughts about this. I think the reason we're seeing more and more of these incidents is because people have cell phones, people have social medias. I don't think it's necessarily something that's new. I think it's been a problem. It's gotten more and more aggressive. And this is about individual behavior. This is about people who do not take responsibility for the way they act, look, behave. I can remember being a teacher in an inner city school, and I'd have 1 or 2 mothers 2 or 3 times a week, sometimes every day, coming in 30 minutes late with their bonnets and their pajamas and their footies, bringing their kid in, stopping my class 30 minutes late every day, and then copping attitude with me when I would say, you need to bring your child on time. We have a situation where in the black community, unfortunately, there is a lack of father and parental father strong figures in the home. And so you're seeing a lot of behavior because of that outcrop of that. And instead of like blaming whitey or blaming slavery or whatever the things that are going to be blamed on this panel, I'm 100% sure, instead of blaming whitey, why not take a look at the behavior that's going on with some members of the black community and have a come to Jesus with them about it?
Bunke, your thoughts about this?
Well, I've been a teacher at both inner city and suburban schools. And in the inner city, we were never scared of school shootings, right? So when we're talking about different groups being vilified, if we're looking at the history of America and who has done the most violent crimes, it's your people. In regards to the way black women are viewed, I'm going to continue speaking, but I'm going to make sure that you're not intimidated right now, are you? I want to make sure you're comfortable, because
No,
as a
I'm
black
not
woman,
intimidated,
that's what we have to do in order to have a platform, right? In order to be able to speak uninterrupted, you have to make sure that you make somebody else feel comfortable. So outside of what we're seeing on social media, we know that 600,000 black women have been laid off, have been pushed out of the workforce, when we continue to be the most educated group of people in this country. And if we're looking at this panel, that's also evident.
All right, Carmen, let's hear from you. Your thoughts about that?
She ain't lying.
Okay, well, I graduated magna cum laude in a language that I just learned at the time, because I am from Venezuela. And we see the aggression in this panel with Yolanda and here to my right, and that's the problem. But now let's talk about Kamala and Jasmine Crockett. You know, Jasmine Crockett is the best example of somebody that instead of representing their community with grace is just being loud, is just being aggressive, and is dancing in the halls of Congress. And then we have Kamala, which we all know she got where she got on her knees. Her story is way long, and she just got where she got because she filled many boxes in the DEI. Let's talk about merit, not about color. As a Latina, I don't think any woman of any color with that behavior represent me as a woman. I'm a minority. I want people to get places based on merit.
All right, Jasmine, Terry, let's hear from you.
So I think we need to stay on topic. So we're going to go back to Yolanda for her initial. Let's go back to history, right? Black women were told to cover their hair because it made white women uncomfortable, right? So the reality is, whether you breathe or not, baby, we're the standard. And that's what it is. The beginning and the end starts with the black woman. So regardless, whether you want to admit it or not, I think for the both of you, you stay on topic, because what you just spoke about had nothing to do with what we're talking about.
Absolutely did.
So we're going to go back to
Stop interrupting.
Let me land. So the reality is, for the both of you to sit on the side of me and talk about aggression, what is the difference in what you're doing and what we're doing right now? Having a conversation. And yet we're the one, you just literally called out both of these black women on the panel, and you sit here with your attitude and you have a problem, but you tell them that they're aggressive, right?
Well, I have a long story with Yolanda.
So we talk about it.
She mad because I whooped her in the congressional race.
So the black women,
No, you were very
let me finish, please.
And I've graduated magna cum
That's not
laude too.
aggressive.
Let's
normal.
Thank you so much. So as a black woman, we're going to talk about history and we're going to talk about facts. So the moment that you realize that black women are the standard in who we are and what we provide into this world and to what we give to America in general, then you need to understand that. And so the reality is, everyone gaslight us and tell us who we are and, oh, you're so aggressive. No, we're not. But when you sit here, you jump behind a microphone and you're yelling and screaming and giving your attitude and what you do, it's okay, it's acceptable.
Hang on a minute.
Wait a minute, and you're the same person, let me finish, and you're the same person talk about calling Jasmine Crockett Miss Ratchet.
She's
and
Representative Ratchet.
So the reality is, when you sit here, right here, you're considered as being applauded for what you do, right? But the minute a black woman has an opinion and we have something to say,
it has nothing to do with having an opinion. It has to do with
We'll be right back, and we'll let them continue this conversation in just a moment. Stay with us here on The Factor Uncensored, and later we'll hear from the men. Stay with us.
Okay.
Welcome back. It's a big question tonight. Are black women being vilified in America? Let's get back to our guest. So if this is a problem that we've constantly seen over the years, over decades, how do we address it?
I don't think there's a way to address it. You know, I mean, what I think the ladies next to me, at least two of the ladies next to me do, is put on their big girl, black girl panties and like just stop the whining. And you know, it's interesting, they're talking about education, it's merit. Well, I mean, I'm a lawyer. I graduated magna cum laude. I mean, I was voted the most outstanding senior at the University of Houston. And I'm a double minority. I mean, I'm a black woman. When I walk in a room, you know I'm black. And the first thing they say is that I'm aggressive. You know what? Matter of fact, my mother taught me to look you dead in your eye when I'm talking to you and speak, because I have something to say. And it's interesting that that Angela's trying to act like she's a wallflower. Angela got one of the biggest mouths on this panel.
I don't
and what
walk
she
around-
always does, Angela literally has no home training. Angela does not
I
allow
don't have
people
home
to
training.
speak. She always
I don't
interrupts
have home
because she
training.
tries to
This is
distract. I'm not
Joanna's-
worried about Angela because when she's moving, she ain't saying nothing. She's whining.
This
She's
is
trying to get the camera to look at herself. Now tell me why that's not aggressive.
All right,
right?
Angela, let's hear from
I
you.
mean, Sarah
Angela.
Palin, Kristi Noem,
This is the
Marjorie
way-
Taylor Greene are
Oh, my
all
God.
aggressive.
All right, let's hear from Angela.
This is the way this woman walks around in the world, ladies and gentlemen. I don't walk around in the world like that,
Absolutely.
and I guarantee you that most of the people on this panel do not walk around in the world
That's
like
why
that.
you got fired at HISD.
No, that's not why I got fired at HISD, but
So
that's
I think-
another story. I'm
Go
not
ahead.
done. Hang on a minute.
Lower your voice.
Hang on a minute.
Thank you.
Here's the thing. Back to my whole premise here. This is about individual behavior. And if you're seeing a spate of black women or black people in general just acting wild and out, dressing like hoes, ghetto ratchet behavior, and people are calling it out, not just white people, black people are calling it out, Hispanic people are calling it out. They're tired of it. That's why this black fatigue thing has taken hold. And again, with all due respect, the women on this panel are not who people are annoyed with, okay? Because the women on this panel are very successful, are very articulate and well-spoken. And I think instead of being defensive about
You
people
literally
having
just
a
insulted
different-
Yolanda and said this is how she walk around in the world.
She's the
I'm
exception.
not worried about her.
She's the
What are you
exception.
talking about?
Look,
Instead of
she's
being
projecting.
offended,
Let's
instead of being
close.
She's projected.
instead
She's
of being
projecting.
offended by saying that this might be a problem with certain black people, why not have a conversation in the black community about
All right,
that?
Bronte, and make sure we stay on topic
Absolutely.
here. Okay.
I think this panel is a microcosm of what we're experiencing. No matter how we present, we're still considered the same thing, right? I intentionally lowered my voice a few decimals, and I was still called aggressive by somebody who has never met me, right? Going back to the social media trends and what we're seeing, and then the outlash, at the end of the day, and Jasmine, right, she pointed this out, black women, we are the backbone of American culture. So if we're talking about clickbait, we know that in this economy, attention is currency.
Absolutely.
So of course they're gonna come after black women because we continue to always move the needle when it comes to any kind of metric you want to look at. Any kind of success metric, any kind of attention metric, going back to beauty standards, we're often emulated. And the truth of the matter is our divine essence is what's intimidating. And so you find these very visceral reactions to us just existing as everybody can
We're
see.
going to take a quick break here. We'll come back and let Jasmine and Carmen wrap us up.
Thank you, 'cause
We'll
we
be
ain't
back.
said
Stay with
nothing
us.
yet.
Welcome back. The topic is, are black women being vilified? Carmen, wrap us up.
Well, bad behavior always takes precedent. And sadly, many times the minority with bad behavior is what is being exposed. And this is the reality of what we're seeing. And that's where, in occasions, like for example, when Yolanda behaved like that, she is also acting in bad behavior, even though she's a very accomplished woman. So why don't behave properly and in the manner that people expect as a state representative, as a U.S. Congresswoman in the case of Jasmine Crockett?
All right. Jasmine, close us up. 30
So
seconds.
the question is, are black women being vilified?
Yes.
And I have a question for the both of you. Do you see this in America today? Black women being vilified? Can you answer yes or no?
No.
No, it's about those
No,
women.
it's about behavior.
So the reality is you guys do not exist in reality. And honestly, furthermore, it's actually shameful because you sit here and you don't see the racist things that you do right now. You don't see it. And you literally, whether you're joking off camera, on camera, whatever, you don't see what you project out regarding black women. And it's actually sad because to sit in between the both of you and we're letting you know that we feel vilified and you have no sympathy,
It's
no
not about
empathy.
you.
You have no. Let me finish. And what I'm saying
10
is
seconds,
the
Dad, you
fact
gotta
that you
wrap it
can
up.
sit here and say that you don't see what goes on in America today means you do not recognize
see what's
history and
going
you are
on
not within
in
reality.
America today.
Thank you, ladies. We'll be back. We'll talk to
I
the
think
men
everyone
next.
sees
Stay
it
with
About
us.
bad behavior.
Tired of boring robotic AI avatars? Meet HumanPal, the first ever
Welcome back to The Factor Uncensored. We're talking about black women being vilified here in America. Joining us now, the men to talk about this subject. We have podcast host, the biggest community activist, Derek Muhammad, radio host, T.D. Blackshear, and CEO of Regal Media, Todd Smith. All right, Derek, your thoughts about black women being vilified here in America. Is it a problem? Is it reality?
It is a problem. It is emphatically a reality and has been so for the past 400 plus years. Black women being vilified is not anything new. The real question is, when did it stop? I mean, think about it. A study was done that said that in media, most black women are seen in 3 categories: the Sapphire, the Jezebel, or the third one is, I forget the third one, but these negative stereotypes. And anytime a black woman expresses her intelligence and she defies these stereotypes, she is indeed vilified. The vilification is just the gateway to devaluation. So as long as black women are devalued in this country, then they could lose 600,000 jobs in 1 year and nobody will bat an eye. I mean, let's look at the historical record. Black women were used as guinea pigs to perform surgery with no anesthesia. Why? Because it went on record that they had a higher tolerance for pain. So indeed, black women have been vilified in this country, still are being vilified in this country, and will continue to be vilified if nothing changes.
All right, TD, let's hear from you. Your thoughts about
I don't believe that's the reality in the whole corporately. I believe that a segment or a particular people, such as a Jasmine or a Kamala, who vilifies with the potty mouth type ideology, where they are speaking not as the intelligent women that we are accustomed to generally in our community, who are literally sound women who goes about their business of doing things that we have brought up through our lives. We know that they are the most sought after or the most educated part of our community, and we expect them to act as such because they are mothers, they are strong women. Because a woman, she can be seen but not heard, and she carry more weight in her beauty and in her essence and how she presents herself as a lady in the streets. And the community abroad, the marketplace will bear witness to that fact, that she's a virtuous woman. Rosa Parks sat on the bus. She wasn't cussing and potty mouthing and hollering and screaming. And the dignity and the self-respect, even in escorting her off the bus, was not that of a vilification or that of treating a woman without dignity.
All right, Todd, let's hear from you.
I think the difference is we have a Marjorie Taylor Greene, and she is not facing the vilification. She's honored. She was honored before she turned against Trump in the MAGA movement. So there is a difference between how black women are treated when they're have a personality. That's how I look at Jasmine Crockett. She has a great personality. But why do we have to shrink who we are? Why do black women have to shrink who they are, shrink their swagger, shrink their personality to fit somebody else's definition of what a classy woman should be? And like Brother Muhammad said, it started 400 years ago with the vilification of black women, how black men couldn't even speak up for their woman when they were raped by the slave master, when they were sold off. And it goes back to black men also with hip-hop, calling women B's and H's. So I blame everybody for the vilification of black women except black women. We all have a responsibility to play to make sure that image is protected and make sure we defend them when they are devalued by some other people.
All right, the biggest, go ahead.
Well, I want to start off by saying I love black women, so let's start with saying that. But I do think that they are vilified, but I think they have reason to be angry. They have reason to speak their mind. I believe a lot of times they move with a lot more masculine energy because they're in defense mode all the time. They've been scarred, they've been taken advantage of, and I believe that's why it gives it's so easy to vilify them, because they're always trying to defend themselves. They always want to prove something to the next person. They have to work a lot harder than, you know, the other women in the world. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I think about it, man.
And you said because of almost a protection mechanism, they use the masculinity to survive. side.
Yeah.
Would there be something necessarily wrong with that, guys? Derek?
Well, I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. The problem with the vilification, I think it starts with the double standards. I have a problem with, see, I was raised by strong black women who had very strong personalities. This did not make them angry black women. The problem is when you see a white woman act out of character, her behavior is not generalized and attributed to all white women. If you see a couple of black sisters and they fighting at the beach or whatever, why are we having a conversation about black women in general based upon the out of character behavior of a few? And that is where the double standard comes in. And that is why we have to stand up and defend black women as a whole. And we have to separate the exception from the rule. The black women that we saw on the panel that preceded ours, these were highly intelligent black women. If you follow them around throughout their day, you think they fussing and fighting and being cantankerous all day long. They would not have been able to accomplish what they've accomplished. But catch them on the day when they're tired. Catch them on the day when they feel as if though
they're human beings.
They can't break through the glass ceiling and they have a right to be angry. All of a sudden, that moment becomes the standard for all black women. That don't make no sense.
We want black women to be perfect.
10 seconds.
We want black women. And he said about the masculine energy. A lot of times, black women had to be masculine. They had to be the father because the slave masters stole the father away. They had to be the father because you couldn't have a father in the home and get welfare. So a lot of them, they had to be that masculine. They had to have that masculine energy. So we shouldn't blame them. We should praise them.
And white women have masculine energy too.
Amen.
All right. There you have it. Thank you for